how surrendering Russian troops are switching sides and joining Ukrainian forces to fight back against Putin. Demoralized Russian troops are reportedly switching sides and joining Ukrainian forces in the fight against Putin. Captured Russian troops have even formed their own battalion, and have been pictured training with their new Ukrainian comrades in arms. Captured Russian troops have formed a new battalion to fight Putin. Credit, the Freedom of Russia Legion. The Freedom of Russia Legion were shown how to use NLAW grenade launcher. Credit, the Freedom of Russia Legion. In a video posted on the app Telegram, a man claiming to be a former Russian soldier says he is now part of the so-called Freedom of Russia Legion. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said on Telegram on Wednesday that commanders in this new legion are visiting detained Russian soldiers to select those who will switch sides and fight in the war for Ukraine. In a follow-up post, it said the first volunteers of ex-Russian troops have already begun their training. Today the Legion's personnel, under the guidance of Ukrainian Armed Forces instructors, studied NLAW grenade launcher, the post said, alongside pictures of captured Rusian troops being shown how to use modern weapons. It added that the detained Russians expressed a common desire on behalf of all the volunteers to conduct the first battle against the guard dogs of the Putin regime, the Kadyrovites. This refers to fighters from Chechnya loyal to the Russian Republic's warlord leader and Putin ally, Ramzan Kadyrov, who have come to fight in Ukraine. Reports have flooded in since the start of the invasion that Russia's supposedly formidable army is in fact poorly armed and using equipment dating back to the Soviet Union. On Tuesday, a Russian commander killed himself after reportedly learning that 90% of his unit's infamous C tanks were useless. Last week, another Russian soldier drove a tank into his commanding officer in protest at the horrific losses among his comrades. So far, Russia has lost more than 17,000 men in the fighting, according to Ukrainian reports. Earlier this month, captured Russian soldiers were filmed crying as they accused Putin of throwing their comrades into mass graves and called for an uprising against the 69-year-old. While in further humiliation to Putin, a Russian tank driver surrendered in return for the equivalent of 7,500 pounds and Ukrainian citizenship. It comes after reports that Ukrainian mechanics are repairing Russian tanks to be used by their own forces against the invaders. Vladimir Putin's forces have lost thousands of vehicles in the war in Ukraine, including around 600 tanks and over 1,700 other armored vehicles. Many of their burnout shells now litter the landscape after being blasted by Kyiv's forces. But ingenious Ukrainian mechanics have also been at work repairing ones that can be salvaged. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia has become one of the main suppliers of arms to their enemy. "We take trophies and use them to protect Ukraine," he said. Today, Russian troops are, in fact, one of the suppliers of equipment to our army. In factories as well as small workshops, staff are being redirected to repairing equipment captured from Russian forces in the fighting. "We will remake the weapons so the barrels will be directed at the enemy's side, not ours," Kyiv garage owner Alexandra Fedchenko told the Daily Mail. Russia's slain commanders. Putin's top brass killed since the invasion of Ukraine, Major Dmitry Toptun. Humiliatingly for Russian forces, many of their abandoned tanks have been towed from the battlefield by farmers in their tractors. A special army unit has been tasked with repairing captured equipment in a Kyiv junkyard with the Ukrainian flag painted over the infamous Russian Z. Yuri Golodov, the unit's deputy commander, says has been responsible for 24 Uragan missiles fired back at Russian forces. "Everything that we take away from the Russian army, we transfer to the armed forces of Ukraine," he told CNN. A Russian tank now in the hands of Ukrainian forces. Credit, Twitter. A Ukrainian mechanic working on a captured Russian tank. Credit, CNN. Workshops and factories have now been turned over to recycling Russian vehicles. Credit, CNN. The Ukrainians' task is helped by its forces using many of the same types of tanks as their Russian foes. They operate at least two models that the Russians also use, the T-72 and the T-80. In fact, according to some calculations, Ukraine now has more tanks than at the start of the invasion thanks ones it has captured. Its army has lost at least 74 tanks since Russia invaded but has captured at least 117 Russian tanks, reports Forbes, quoting open-source intelligence analysts. In addition to the shocking troop losses, Putin has also lost 8 colonels, the latest of his commanders to die in battle. The death of Denis Gurilo, commander of the 200th Motorized Rifle Brigade, represents another damaging blow to the Kremlin, which has seen many of its top brass wiped out in Ukraine as they struggle to control an army featuring thousands of conscripts. While tanks are not the only weapons being turned on the Russians, state defense company Ukroboronprom is now offering a $1 million reward for any aircraft it receives. The company says it has mastered the repair of Russian